Hello, welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 228, and today is a day in November, November 9th,
Yes.
2014. Um, it I'm Laura, also known as Lala. I don't know what else I was going to say about November, but whatever.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Um, we're trying another adjustment to the mic volume, so we hope it helps. It sounds better, so
Yay.
um, works in progress. Why don't you go first?
With my bacon shawl. I I am knitting a shawl. It is the Yowza shawl by the lovely Susan B. Anderson, and it is not her fault that it looks like bacon. But it totally does. I have a ton of skeins of Yowza single skeins, but I also had a 4 ounce skein of some fiber that I had spun up from Crown Mountain Farms a long, long time ago and not knit with it. So I decided, because it was 8 ounces and around 550 yards, this might be the perfect project for it. So I am using size 7 needles instead of, the pattern calls for size 9s. So it might be a wee bit smaller, but I do have another 8 ounces of this in the stash. I bought
Mm.
a pound of it. So there is the possibility of a very large bacon like shawl. Um, so I'm kind of in the
But this
middle.
is the Yowza Way It shawl, right?
Yes.
Okay, and
Yep.
this is a new pattern by Susan B. Anderson.
Yep. So you knit one row basically until you get to a certain weight of your yarn. I'll show you what my yarn looks like. It's bald because when I wound it originally on my skein winder, I apparently went one way and then another way.
Ooh.
So it got hand wound into a very large ball, not quite the size of my head, but much larger than a tennis ball. It's actually about the size of the snowball mic. So, which is the microphone system we use. But it is living in my huge fat squirrel bag,
I
which I
love
love.
that.
Which I got because it's got a hedgehog on it. Because everybody needs a hedgehog, and it's purple. So, that is that for right now. I totally just got it caught around a lazy Kate because there's a lazy Kate sitting on my desk.
I bet you there's one in your kitchen and in your living room, too.
There's not one in my kitchen room, but there are three in my living room. If you count the one that's on board, the ladybug. I had something else I was knitting. Oh, I'm also still knitting on the socks. They're in my Bling Your String bag. And they are out of Dreaming Color Everlasting in the Wilderness colorway. And this went from a 1x1 rib to a 3x1 rib, and that's what I'm working on now. So it's the new base of Dreaming Color Everlasting. There are two versions out there, but this is the newer one. It is 9-ply sock yarn. The skeins come in 400-yard put-ups, and they are 100% superwash merino, Australian merino yarn, but they're spun and hand-dyed in the U.S., and they've got a lot of twists, which you can kind of see if I let it. See the twist? So there's a good bit of twist in there. This is the second one. I am knitting them on Knitter's Pride Nova Platina needles, which have a lot of adjectives on their packaging that describe them. So there's the first one. It might be going to my brother-in-law. I haven't decided yet. Because I haven't tried it on yet, because I'm super lazy.
You've been busy.
Because trying on a sock takes so much time. But the laziness factor comes in that I'm already wearing socks and shoes 90% of the time, and I don't feel like taking them off. And when I get to my house, I take off my shoes and I put on my awesome slippers. So there's always something on my feet.
Which awesome slippers. Oh,
Those
your
awesome.
muckluck ones.
My mucklucks. So that's how flexible I am.
I'm very impressed.
You really should not be. Um, these were on, I already said, Knitter's Pride Nova Platinas, which are nice, lightweight but short needle length needle, and I'm using basically 1x1 to 3x1 to stockinette, and then the Bell Began Heel, which I say differently every single time, from Sock Architecture. And those are the two things on my needles. Well, there's lots of things on the needles, but those are the two things that have been actively worked on this week. And I have a good bit left. I was knitting, that's what it looks like in the cake.
It's a really
I was
pretty
knitting
color.
at oh yeah, it's gorgeous. I'm going to get more of this yarn because I like it a lot. And I want to see how they wear with there not being nylon in them, but with so much twist, I bet you they wear really nicely. So, anyway,
Well, I only have one thing I've worked on this week that is not finished because I finished some things this
you
week.
finished all the things this week.
I did. Well, not all of them. I still have a lot of things on the needles, but I finished a pretty good
We should
number.
count. How many things do you have on the needles?
I have the hat out of Toasty,
So the colorwork hat,
colorwork hat. I
the
have,
coop knits.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
I have the Trick Asa Tricosa cardigan.
Oh yeah, I'd forgotten about that. But that's almost done, right? It just needs sleeves. No,
No,
not even close. How
no.
far is it done?
Maybe 4 inches past the armholes.
That's
So
not bad.
it's got, I'm maybe 35 to 40%. I've still got a significant portion to go. The hard part is over. The hard part is all up here.
Yeah.
But
Is that why you haven't touched it? Because it's boring to you now?
no, I took it with me for yarn school. Worked on it a bunch at Stacy's, but since then I've
I don't
been.
think you showed it to us after you're in school.
I may not have. I don't have it down here, or I'd show it to you. It's upstairs. It's like it's sitting on my nightstand in the hopes that I'll work on it, but it just hasn't happened yet. So anyway, I cast on. Oh, that is not the bag I'm looking for. Where is the bag that I'm looking for? That I just had. Oh, this is the bag. I cast on some Leading Men Fiber Arts,
Cool.
the Toxic Gas colorway in the Spotlight base, which is a BFL, Superwash BFL nylon blend.
Ooh, nice
Some
blend.
socks, and I was trying out some 9-inch Cirques. I do not like them.
They are so tiny.
They are, and I thought because I've gotten to the point where, like Laura, I like to work my hats on like a 16-inch, where I don't have to magic loop or move the loop around at all.
Really?
So I thought maybe I would like these as well, but I don't, when I knit, I don't work with the tips of my fingers. I use all of my fingers, and there's not enough space on
You
this.
actually use like the heel of your
Yeah,
thumb.
I use the base of my palm a lot to manipulate the knitting. So anyway, this is the yarn, the Toxic Gas, and it's more of a masculine color because I'm attempting to knit men's socks. And I'm test knitting a pattern for a friend of mine, Meliabella, and it's the Atlantic Current socks. So it's a slip stitch sock pattern.
Cool.
I just started it last night, so I'm not very far. I've just got I did a slightly longer ribbing than it called for and started the slip stitches, so it's not very far. But I'm knitting it on, I had to clear up these needles because even though I know I own at least half a dozen pair of 2.25 millimeter 32-inch needles, I couldn't find any. So
You have
I,
other socks? Well, no, you don't have other socks in the needles, do you?
mm-mm,
You've got to have other socks in the needles
I
somewhere.
don't.
Hmm.
But anyway, so I just, all my needles I probably put somewhere for safekeeping, and now I don't know where that place is.
When you cleaned, probably.
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on as we knit. I'm like the base a lot. It's got a lot of twist to it. So it's going well.
And that yarn dyed by Steve of the Dramatic Knits podcast.
I don't know if it was dyed by him or Andy, but
Well,
he and Andy are a
and
team.
you
So
do the company together.
yes. So, and they will be back at SSK again next year,
Yay.
which is awesome. We're
That's
glad to have them back.
fabulous. I don't think we haven't done a formal announcement of the teachers yet.
Yes,
We'll have to do that.
we did do teachers. We didn't do vendors.
Or vendors, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We need to do that at some point. when we
Yeah.
get all the contracts back.
Yep.
Awesome.
So, finished objects. Do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Sure. So I finished your muckluck slippers
Slippers for
out
me.
of brown sheep. Hold on, they're still wet, so they're on the floor versus being by the computer because I
Put
figured
my
that was
slippers on the floor.
well, they were on the drying rack for a while. So here they are. They are big and orange.
They are. I will not lose them.
You'll easily find them. They were in the same time, but this one felted a little bit more than that one. But they came out the same size, so I don't know how that works. So that's interesting. But if you need, I did not like hardcore felt them because I figured you could always felt them more if you needed them more felted. But I could not unfelt them if they got too felted.
Yeah, there's no back out plan, unfortunately.
No, there's not. And if they're too small, then they can fit Kobe eventually.
Oh,
That's,
pretty soon. He's up to a size 8 in men's now, so.
that is that is your size.
Well, I'm a 9. Well,
No, like so I wear an 8.5 men's and I'm a 10. So his feet are bigger than yours now. Or right about that same
right
size.
about the same, I think. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
You're right.
Oh, the backup plan has been foiled. We must find other children. So that's the only thing that I finished. I finished these on Sunday. I sewed them together yesterday morning and threw them in the washer. So that is the only thing I finished. But you finished a ton of stuff, my dear.
Well,
That's the
some
street.
weeks you have the mojo and some weeks you don't. Or at least that's the way it is with me. I started a 2-week on-call rotation last Wednesday. Usually it's only 1 week, but there's this one lady that I work with that just really hates being on call.
So she paid you.
So she pays me
Yes!
to take her on call.
That's awesome.
So, and I can always use money. So, the first thing that I finished, what do I have listed? Let me just go with what's on here. Okay.
Socks.
The first thing, let me grab my sock blockers here. This is not uncomfortable at all. All right. And everything falls. Just pretend that didn't happen.
Maybe you'll find needles.
So I finished Mama Linneman's socks. The simple skip socks out of Caterpillar Green in the Concrete and Tulips colorway. This was a cashmere blend that I really liked working with. Her yarn is very popular right now, so you have to wait or catch an update. Probably will order from her again once the crazy dies down, because I do like this base a lot.
Yeah, she's doing shawl colorways
Yeah,
now.
she is. She's doing the colorways that'll stripe in a shawl, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
if we keep talking about her stuff, though, it'll never die out. You're defeating
true.
your own purpose.
So they don't match. They're fraternal, which is sort of the theme for me this week. But
I like them.
yeah, I think that they've got a flap heel and a gusset. I think that's what I've typically knit for your mom, is flap heels. So I don't know how she feels about
She
short rows.
takes anything.
Yeah.
Like, so the crazy, the socks that I was working on when my car broke down at your house, where it's like under the foot gusset, she loves those. She's got numerous toe ups. Like, she just likes socks.
Yeah, I'm the same way. If you knit me something, I'm pretty good with it. And then I finished, these are still wet, but I might put them on just for comic relief. So these are the the Eugenia's mittens. They're a free pattern on Ravelry. This is
really pretty.
with Invictus Superwash Merino yarn, which is a really nice yarn to work with. It takes frogging pretty well. Ask me how.
Oh my.
This is in the blustery colorway, and I'm going to put these on the wrong way just so that you guys can see. I have woven in the ends, but I haven't trimmed them yet.
Oh, you had knit 2 right-hand mittens or something.
did. I knit a right hand mitten, and then I knit another right hand mitten. Luckily, I noticed it when I was about there, so I could rip back down. But the pattern, the cable pattern, says you knit like row 1 to 16, then row
You have
1
a
to...
different number of cables
Yes.
crossing on one side than the other.
This is the way that it was written. This is the way that I just decided to do it, apparently.
Huh.
And I don't care. I'm not fixing it, because they're mittens, and I don't care.
Oh. And
So
they're for you, I'm guessing.
yeah, they are. I actually like this one a little bit better than I like this one. This one's got that single cable up through the middle, and
Yeah.
this one doesn't have as much of one. But
Well,
I
it's got
was,
three, one, two, three on one side and two on the other.
yeah. So I was just really engrossed in the audiobook I was listening to and just
Cool.
didn't care, I guess. So now my hands are wet. That's a fun feeling. Pattern was, there's nothing wrong with the pattern. I just wasn't paying attention. And it is a free pattern on Rav. Like I said, I did like working with this Invictus yarns a lot. It took frogging very well.
And that's in her worsted base?
Yeah, it's her Captain Superwash, and the colorway is Blustery. I wanted
Cool.
grays, so.
I have some of her DK to knit with, and then we have a giveaway to do.
Yep.
So that'll be pretty cool.
The last knitted item is still a little bit damp as well. This, I haven't cut the ends off, but I need to. So, the socks are Fraternal, because there weren't enough color repeats. The mittens are Fraternal, because I can't read patterns, apparently. And continuing on that note is...
This was my fault and not your fault.
No, I could have asked, like, you... Okay, so let me show it first. So this is the Whiz Popper shawl by Laura, and it's going to be coming out this month from Infinite Twist.
Yep.
I'm test knitting it, or I did test knit it. I used a non-Infinite Twist base just because that's what I had. Well, that's what I was bullied into ordering.
That's what you were bullied into ordering. Not by me either, by the bullying.
You were not a part of the bullying.
I hate to use the word bullying, though, in a non-bullying manner.
Strong arm. Coerced.
Yeah, that's making light of real bullying situations. So let's not do that.
So the edging, do you have yours nearby?
I do not. It's on my new dress form.
So the edging, the body of this is all in garter.
It is.
The pattern, when I got it and I was reading the chart, had the edging in stockinette.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, I thought her edging was in garter. But then I just convinced myself that I was looking at the wrong side of it, not the right side of it. I don't know how, but I convinced myself of that. So I just started knitting it in stockinette as the chart was written. Somehow the chart software converted it in the round versus flat.
Here's what happened. When I originally charted it, and there's still an issue with the chart that I need to fix. So when I originally charted it, I charted it and imported it flat. And then I noticed that there was an error that I needed. Actually, it had to do with that when it was charted flat, it had you purling. It was doing stockinette from the other side. So I had to add the purl dots so that it would look like garter. It would create garter. And when I did that, my charting software defaults to in the round because that's what I do 99% of the time. So that's what it's set up to default to. So instead of like it being numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, it was 1, 2, 3, 4 for in the round, and so it came out looking like stockinette. So
I don't mind. I do.
That's the point of testing. So
yeah, I mean, I still think I like it in stockinette.
I did catch it when Leslie sent me a picture of one completed.
Yeah, it was like it was 2 completed repeats, and Laura texted me and she's like, "Why is it in stockinette?" And I started going, "Oh crap, why is it in stockinette?" So I went back and I looked and I was like, "I swear it says stockinette."
We got it.
Yeah, and it does. I do like the way that you did the shaping. It does allow it to sit nicely without fussing and constantly pulling it up and losing the look of it on your back. I do like the way that it drapes with the raglan shaping. So I think what I'll do for this is, because it's such a high quality yarn, it's Shalimar Breathless.
DK.
Yeah, I think that I may hold on to this for an SSK donation raffle item.
There you go.
Because it's a great combination of pattern and yarn, so I'm happy with it. I think it came out really nice. I've still got ends where I've got to trim them. They've been woven in, but I don't trim them until after the garment is dry, so.
Cool beans, yeah.
So I
finished a lot this week.
Yes, and I did some sewing. But I'll talk about that after. Did you do spinning? You did spinning.
I totally did spinning because I got a new wheel this week.
Oh, that's right.
So I had 2 new toys arrive at my house this week. One was noticeably more expensive than the other. I got a dress form off of Amazon, a mannequin, to use for photography. So I could do close-ups of the shawl or any other garment that I need to photograph when other people are not around.
So,
So
so it
like I
doesn't have
would,
to be laying flat.
yeah, because the whole purpose of knitwear is that it's on, it's on.
Right, it's three-dimensional.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. So I got a dress form off of Amazon at $75, and it was total like drama because it was super rainy here on Wednesday, and FedEx said they delivered it, and I had to accidentally like this has changed, but my default address in Amazon when you did the one-click ordering, like on my phone, goes to my parents' house
yeah.
for some reason. But even though my address was supposed to be the default, but for some reason for that one click it was still their house. So I fixed that, but it went to their house and they're out of town and it was like super pouring, like tons of rain coming down, monsoon in Mississippi. And so I run down to their house because I'm like, man, it's going to get wet. It wasn't there. So it's dark and raining, and I'm like searching using my phone as a flashlight to make sure they didn't deliver it to like a side door because FedEx said it was delivered. It was not delivered. It showed up the next day.
Oh.
So I had to run. It's like an hour round trip down to my parents' house. So I ran down there twice. It was irritating. And it also was stressing me out because I was like, where is my dress form? So that's my dress form story. I also over exaggerate all the things. But Tuesday, we had a teacher work day because they use the schools in Mississippi are used for voting.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an election. And so we had a teacher work day, and I got to come home for lunch, and at my door was my new shocked Reeves. So I brought I can't like bring it with me because it's show
take
y'all.
up more than the screen.
It's very large, but I have been posting way too many pictures on Instagram, like an obsessive amount. I have a shocked Reeves is a type of spinning wheel. It is a traditional style wheel. A Saxony is what they call that style wheel. My flyer is on the left, and I have the 30-inch cherry with a double treadle. So I have two. Those things right there are treadles. I have two of those. So basically, I have this wheel right here. And I got it set up all by myself. I'm very proud of myself. And Continental Kim has been super helpful. Like, Tuesday I spun on it some. I had to go back to work. Like, I've dragged the boxes in, unpacked them. Humberto jumped in them, and I had to leave. And so then I went back to work, worked for another 3 hours, came home, put it all together. Humberto still has pieces of cardboard that he's stolen and is like creating a nest and then chasing them around the house, whatever. I'll find them when he's sleeping sometime. When he is unawares. They will go in the trash can. So I started spinning on it, and it's an awesome wheel. But like any wheel, there's like a learning curve.
Oh yeah, the first couple like the first pound is just throwaway essentially.
So well, hopefully not. I like the flyers have to be the flyer right here has to be set up a certain way, and it's in double drive, and this is my first wheel that I have that I'm going to keep in double drive, I think. But it is just sucking up oil, and it took me a long time to realize that the reason why the flyer wasn't moving was it wasn't lubricated enough to me. Even though like I just oiled it 20 minutes prior, it needed more oil. So it's just been sucking up oil, which is fine. Once I realized that, no problem.
I think that's common for new wheels.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That.
Especially moving from Colorado to Mississippi. Like, well, I guess Colorado would be drier than Mississippi. Mississippi is far more humid than Colorado.
So definitely, and like I still have one pin that won't go in the wheel because it's so much more humid here than it is in Colorado. And I posted in the Shocked forum, and a lot of people have had that. So it's just like I just pulled a piece of yarn through, and it works fine. And one day when the humidity is low, it will go
sucker in there.
Yep. But this week it's all been like 50 to 100% humid in Mississippi, so that hasn't worked. But anyway, shocked reef. So I got it, and this is the Lazy Kate, and this is my second bobbin. My first bobbin I just did like throwaway bet that I made at yarn school. But this is CVM fleece that's been spun long draw. The goal is to have 3 of these on here and then ply them. So this is double drive long draw. And it's the CVM fleece that was my first fleece to process. So that's the Lazy Kate. And it's got this cool pin that you shake out and then it just goes. So anyway, and that's the wood color of my wheel too. It's that cherry.
And that color will deepen as you...
Yes, which I'm super excited about. So that's the first bobbin. So there's around 3 ounces of singles on there. The other thing that I spun this week is a bobbin of Cormo on the Ladybug. So my owl for the Harry Potter Knit and Crochet House Cup is a pound of club fiber, which I spun during Spinzilla primarily. I had spun one prior to that. And then a pound of hand processed stuff, which I didn't have to process this month. I just had to spin it. So there's 4 ounces on here. There's 3 ounces on there. And then I have 2 bobbins of border luster that's being spun on the Sidekick. And I need to decide if I want to make this a 2-ply or a 3-ply.
You got a whole lot of natural wool going on.
I do. And then the Lendrum's got my less is more superwash merino on it so I'm spinning for the less is more sweater. So it's got superwash merino top on it. So totally different.
Yeah.
But 4 wheels in progress and 4 wheels that have been worked on this week. So it's been a little bit spinning heavy. So I'm hoping that I can get the bulk of my owl done this week. Once I decide if I want to make this a 2-ply or a 3-ply. I'm leaning kind of towards 3-ply, but that means I'll have to... The wool's washed, but I'll actually have to run it through the drum carder.
Yeah.
This is definitely a 3-ply, so I'm going to start the next bobbin of this. And then that'll be a 3-ply. And the next bobbin's actually already on the wheel, and it's around a quarter of the way down. So, yeah, lots of natural wool, which is kind of boring.
Yeah, it can be after a while. I agree.
But the new wheel's kind of like breaking up the monotony of it. So that's good. So, that's it for me for spinning. That was a lot of stuff. We have a question from Slimy Sarah. The fact that her name is Slimy Sarah makes me giggle. She says, I'd like to sign up for my first sock club for monthly yarn surprises. Any suggestions on who I should sign up with? And I kind of listed a bunch in the show notes, but I didn't talk to Leslie about it either, so I can add more. And then I'd be interested to see what y'all think.
Yeah, I mean, we have a thread in our group called Shut Up and Take My Money.
Yeah.
Which is basically a place for our indies to promote their business. And I know several of the indies in our group have yarn clubs or sock clubs. So that's one place that you can look. Laura has mentioned some of the more mainstream ones. Socks That Rock, the Loopy U does a giftables. Sometimes it's socks, sometimes it's not.
I don't think it's ever been socks, but it's been different yarns. Okay. Just for a yarn club. The Cookie Sock Club is pretty awesome. I have not been a member, but my local yarn shop owner, which has since closed, was a member for several years. So I got to see some of her goodies. Martina Bem has a club. It's based out of Europe. So if you're in Europe, it's really good deal. If you're in the U.S., you do have to pay a little bit more for shipping.
Eats into the cost a lot. I was looking at it, and for me, the cost with shipping would be like something in the range of $55 per shipment. And I love Martina Bem's patterns, and her yarn choices are beautiful. I just can't justify $50 for one shipment. So it's a much more, I mean, it's all shipping. That's the part that eats you. And that's not something anyone can do anything about.
So it's $50, which includes the yarn, pattern, and then the shipping.
Right.
Roundabout there. Miss Babs in the past has done an armchair club. And then for our Australian and New Zealand friends, Yarn versus Zombies, I know she's done a club in the past. Miss Babs, I know, has done that club in the past. I don't know if she's going to do it now. Basically, when you're looking for clubs, you want someone who's established. You kind of want to go into their Ravelry group and take a peek and see if they've done a club before, if shipments have been on time, any complaints or awesome things. Look at past shipments and see if you've liked the past shipments.
I would also keep in mind cost versus reward, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but some clubs that I'm not a member of any sock clubs at all now, and I haven't been for several years, but when I was, there were some clubs that were great because they were low cost and you got just the yarn and sometimes a pattern. Perfect Day Yarns comes to mind. She's no longer in business no matter how many times we won. She won't buy anymore. But then there were some, like Yarn Girl, or was it Wool Girl, used to do great clubs, but they were very heavily themed. So you got a bunch of little extras. So the cost was higher because she had to pay for all the little, there was a Wizard of Oz one where I got like Dorothy's, little glittery red slippers. I got like a magnet and a notebook and stickers and all these kind of things that went with it. So you need to weigh the cost of what you want versus what they offer.
One that I forgot is Into the World. Chris also does Yarn Club. I think there's a wait list on it.
Yeah, I think both her yarn and fiber clubs have wait lists now.
She's another really good person.
Yeah, and people haven't been on the wait list for that long, I don't think, for her club. And
I've been a member of her fiber club for a long time, and I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was a member of her club for a couple of years, and then I just hit maximum. I just couldn't anymore. So yeah. I actually feel a little bit out of touch on this subject because I haven't been in clubs for a while. So I wonder what some of our viewers have to say about that.
Yeah, I know Socks the Rock always does a wonderful club.
Yeah, and I just saw an email from them about their 10th anniversary that they're about to open up that club.
Yep, so that's definitely high. And since I've designed for Loopy U Giftables twice, I know she does a wonderful club. Hers is like 3 in the spring and 3 in the fall.
Yeah.
But a lot of these places, like Socks That Rock, Loopy U, they allow you to purchase gift certificates or someone in your family. That's kind of why I selected this, because the holiday season's coming. I know people are looking for gifts. So people that offer gift certificates, I'm sure Miss Babs does as well. I think Yarn versus Zombies does. I'm sure Chris does. Like, that is a way something to ask for to help for the cost as well. We have a book review, rather a magazine review.
Yes.
It is Knit Purl. It's the fall 2014 edition. This used to be Knitwear magazine, and it was very heavy on the sweater designs.
Yes.
That has not changed. It's mostly sweaters for the majority, which I love.
Schroyer, the editor, she gives a little blurb in the beginning that basically it's just sort of a facelift for the magazine, something new to grab your attention on the newsstand. That they still are, very devoted to bringing you.
So this is put out by F&W Media, which is the parent company of Interweave Knits, and it retails for $14.99 in both the U.S. and Canada.
Right.
It is to be displayed until December 29th, 2014, and then typically you can get back issues on the Interweave Knits website if you're seeing this episode a little bit later. And it looks like this.
It's very heavy on bulky yarns. This edition, a lot of the focus is on bulky yarns and knitting garments out of bulky yarns. So if that's something you're interested in, it's even more reason to take a look.
So the one non-garment in here is a cowl, which I really liked it because it looked like it would be a quick, fast knit for holiday gifting, which is totally on my mind right now. It is... Chelsea Barefoot is the designer, and it is out of Taki Yarn Souffle, which is distributed by Taki Stacey Charles, and it is a bulky. There is definitely, like Leslie said, an emphasis on the bulky weights.
Mhm.
um, which is great for like quick gift stuff.
Yeah, so the first pattern that I like, I'm not certain how it would look on a larger size person, but it is interesting, is the Spinal Pullover by Kathy Karen. And it goes from a 36.5 inch to a 48.5 inch bust, but it assumes that there's 3 inches of positive ease in there. So
I like
really,
that it states that it's shown with 36 and a
right.
half and modeled with 3.5 inches.
That is one very good point about this magazine. They do mention the ease for each pattern.
It also gives you notes saying that it's worked in the round, which you can kind of see from the picture, from the top down with yoke shaping.
Mm-hmm.
It is out of a heavy weight yarn. Actually, it's a wool cotton blend, the Spud and Chloe outer,
The outer, yeah.
that comes in skeins that are 60 yards to 3.5 ounces, just to kind of, or 55 meters if we're doing
Yeah.
metric. So it takes like the smallest size takes 10 skeins, the largest size takes 14. So it's a pretty heavy sweater, which, as cold as it feels like it might be going to be, that might not be a bad thing. I like the chevron cardigan by Michelle Wang. It looks like that. I think it goes to like any interweave publication. There's the big picture, and then when you turn to um, the actual directions, there is a smaller picture. This one is from, so the original picture is from the front, then there's a small picture of the back. So you're getting around 2 pictures
Yeah.
per pattern.
Which I wish there were more, but I understand that every page is a cost for magazines.
There are schematics for this.
Mm-hmm.
This one goes from a 34.5 up to a 47.5, and it's modeled with 2 3/4 positive ease. Puffin again is a large, bulky weight
Yeah.
yarn. It's 100% American wool. It's put out by Quilting Company. It's 112 yards or 102 meters to 3.5 ounces. So not quite as bulky as this Bud and Chloe, but you're still looking for my size. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 skeins, and knit on size 11 needles. But a
So
really pretty piece.
I like the concept of this one, and I was wondering how it would look on someone my size. It's the Fisherman Redux. It's knit and worsted by Vera Sannon. Because of the unusual construction, it's got sort of emphasizes the middle, and
That bottom, though, just
I know it's very
that bottom
weird,
doesn't do it for me.
but it only goes from a 30 inch to a 42.5 inch, assumes 3 inches of negative ease.
Because
So
that ribbing. Interesting.
yeah, so I mean, it's not written for me, which is
I'd like to
probably
see that
good.
bottom reworked in just like a rib that goes all the way around. Just like a regular rib at the
Yeah,
bottom.
it's
That's
got
my only
potential. I
sticking
like the
point. Yeah.
idea of playing with rib and creating um, sort of visual lines, but I'm not certain that this was the way to go.
So I really like this vest again with like the potential. John Brenniger did a whole. He did 2 patterns for the magazine. I actually kind of like the concepts behind both, but he did a total of 10 patterns. It's a collection, and it all uses Taki Stacey Charles, and he did videos for them,
Hmm.
which kind of like he was inspired by like catwalk videos, and he's like the knitting world needs this as well, which I agree with. But here's the vest that I like. So it's got almost like a brioche looking top, and then it goes down. Like yellow, I feel like just kind of turns me off of it because it's yellow and it's not my
Yeah.
favorite color. And then the multicolor up here, but I'd love to see it in like a gray and black up here, and then like a black or a gray down there. Um, More like a wardrobe staple, and that's sized from 37 up to 45. There's only 3 sizes.
Yeah, but it is
And
a very loose fitting piece, so
it is, but it wants 5 inches of positive ease. So the largest you could be would be a 40 in order to
yeah.
get the fit that they want. And it's worked in pieces and seamed. So it's really interesting. His other piece that I found really interesting, and that's Tuxedo Trap, is Biopalm. And it looks like that from the front, But I'm so glad they included a back shot because it's totally different. It's on the small one.
See, I don't feel like that back shot helps at all.
I just think it's interesting. It's like his collection's very avant-garde, very Project Runway. Again, very small size, from a 30 to a 38. But really, I just find them interesting. Like they are inspiring to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming at it from a different point of view, which is good. But it would be nice if, and this is not on him, this is on the whole industry as a whole, it would be nice if that new angle were geared towards a wider range of figures. But, you
I
know,
understand.
it is what it is. The plumage pullover has potential. It goes from in sizing from a 32 and 3/4 to a 49 and 3/4 inch, and it's knit in Madeline Tosh Sport.
I like that actually.
It actually looks long enough to wear with tights. My only sort of shying away is that it's in reverse stockinette and it's patterned.
Leslie hates reverse stockinette.
So I just don't know. I do really like the effect and I do like the sizing, and I think it would be easily modifiable because it's so much sort of blank canvas with the reverse stockinette. But
I like the
scares me a little.
asymmetrical aspect of it. There's a really interesting article. There's an article in here called Technique Lab, which is it says make your yarn bigger with Navajo 3-ply knitting.
Yes, I have that tagged, I think.
So it's really, really interesting. Basically, Michelle Hunter writes the article. And during the Great Depression, her grandmother lacked the luxury of a large yarn stash. So she'd come up with all these creative ways to use what she had, basically. So she basically took lace weight yarn and she created worsted weight by doing a 3-ply.
Yep.
And basically what she does is she Navajo plies it if you're a spinner, but without adding additional twist.
Or if you crochet, she's basically making crochet loop after crochet loop
Yep.
to
Create a
create
thicker weight yarn.
a 3-ply yarn out of a 1-ply yarn. Well, plies of yarn.
Yeah. So it's a really interesting article, and there's a video tutorial that goes with it. So really, really interesting. It's something I've not seen brought up before in the knitting industry, so that caught my attention for sure. And she's got different swatches using the technique, which also is very nice.
I like the pin tuck cardigan. This is by Bristol Ivy, which doesn't surprise me. Bristol Ivy has a nice design aesthetic. It's very simple and clean. It goes from somewhere in the 30s up to a 50.5 inch. So it's very generously sized.
I like how the cuff detail mimics
The collar.
cuff detail there, and that's mimicking that collar.
But I like that there's just enough detail to where it's something you could wear every day.
Yeah.
It's very...
And the collar actually extends to the shoulders. So yeah, it's definitely an extremely wearable piece.
Laura really likes the asymmetric hem pullover.
I do. I'm pulling it up right now if I can get to it. Did I tag it?
It was the next page.
Oh, I'm moving. It looks like that. I like that asymmetric hem. I think it makes her look skinny.
I like the detail. I think it would look nicer in a thinner yarn, but...
it's out of a worsted weight, so it's not super chunky.
Right.
So it looks like either decreases or increases to change the line.
Like a miter is what it looks like. But it's not. Yeah, you're right. It is increases or decreases. But the top size is a 45-inch chest. It goes from a 31.5 to a 45-inch chest.
I didn't look to see how much ease that required. Let me pull it up. Maybe. There's a lot of flipping when we do magazine reviews. It's hard because they're in different...
Half-inch of negative ease on that one.
So not bad.
Yeah.
It's interesting that it's negative ease. That's one that I would love to do positive ease on. Oh, it calls for a crochet hook. Ooh.
And then they have a little bit of a Fair Isle gallery in the back.
That's why.
And I like the tilting Fair Isle mitts and hat. This is by
I do too.
Mary Galing.
I think it's a great use of all the colors that Jameson Chetling comes in.
Hmm.
All of the number of ends to weave in, to me,
Yeah,
astronomical.
just plunk yourself in front of the TV and get to work.
Yeah. I'd like to see, you can't really see the thumb gusset in any of the pictures. I'd
Yeah,
like to see the thumb. There it is. Like in the smaller picture, you can kind of see it. It looks like there's a wee jog there.
yeah, there is. I can see.
So cool. Lots of nice clear charts though too.
Yes. So that was Knit Purl. It
Yeah.
was the fall 2014 issue put out by F&W Media and sent to us for review. It retails for $14.99. You can go on Ravelry and look at this issue and see more in-depth pictures of each of the patterns, so
Yep.
you can
They've
help to
been up on
decide.
Ravelry for a while because I saw some
Hmm.
of the patterns when they first went up.
So you can look through and decide whether it's something that you want to invest in.
Definitely. What we are reading, I've been going on a Dorothy Gilman bender. Dorothy Gilman, oh, she's been around for since my childhood. She writes a very Agatha Christie type mystery series called Mrs. Halifax. So I've read they just came out on the Kindle back in January of this year. And so I got a couple of those. And I also, when I was unpacking boxes, this is what started the bender. I've been unpacking some more book boxes this week. And I found a bunch of her other non mystery novels. Thales Folly was one of them. So I've been reading quite a bit of her. I like her stuff. If it's not like any kinds of graphic, or I mean it's an old lady solving mysteries in a very not, well, actually she's not really solving mysteries, she's a spy for the CIA, so doing spy type
Fancy. I
things.
totally
I know.
just pictured Betty White rappelling down the side of the
Yes,
building.
I totally, Betty White would be the perfect person to play her. And also like it's very dated. It's kind of funny because today was the what 25th anniversary of the wall falling in Berlin, so it's very like Cold War dated,
Hmm.
and like the old James Bonds were. So it's very funny. Like the first one that I just read, like Russia and China are playing off each other in the Cold War. So it's very funny. Um, anyway, I'm enjoying them. Very light, fluffy reading. What have you been reading?
I've been listening mostly. I actually haven't read. The only book I'm actually reading is the fourth Septimus Heap one called Quest. Kobe has finished the fifth one and has already started on the sixth one, so I'm falling behind. But I got sucked into the Dorothy Harkness series,
Yeah.
the one that starts with the discovery of witches. So this past week I listened to most of School of Night, which is the second one, and then listened to the entire Book of Life, which is the third one. And that one,
Wow.
altogether, it was probably like 40 hours. Like I listened
Wow.
all the time at work, while I was knitting, while I was sewing, all kinds of. I got really sucked in. So, and now I'm sort of on that hangover after you finish a long book series and you're like, but what happens next? So
Is there another one coming out, or
no, it
is
was,
it a
that's
trilogy?
it, yeah. So
That sucks.
that's all right. I'll get sucked into something else.
Have you ever listened to Poison Study?
I don't think so.
Poison Study is one of my favorites, and it's on Audible. You should check it
I
out.
will. I'll take a
It's a
look.
good one. She actually, I really like that series, and then she did a spin-off series that was, and then she did another series that was,
Mhm.
So they're still okay. It just took me a while to get through the last one in the last series. You have some quilting to show, so you should totally show that
I
because it's
do.
amazing.
So I started this morning. I was going to start another quilt. See, I'm going down to Mississippi for Christmas.
Yes.
And I have this idea in my head that I can bring a quilt to both Mickey and Carol. Mickey is Michael's father, and Carol is Michael's stepmother.
Uh-huh.
Because we stay with them when we go down there, and we
Yeah.
probably will again. Um, and they don't ever ask for anything. They're just good folks, and so I've just got it in my head that I can make a quilt for both of them. And I've already got a quilt top made for Carol, and I have for a while. It's just a very simple jelly roll, and that I'm going to cut up and,
Yeah.
reassemble. And I decided for Mickey, I was going to do a rag quilt because he's got this one quilt, or it's not a quilt really. It's just a blanket, but it's really soft. And so he'll sit on the computer with his quilt over his entire body and his head and just sit and play online poker. Like, that's his thing. So I wanted it to be really soft, not your typical quilter's cotton.
Are you doing flannel?
So yeah, flannel
Cool.
cut up into squares. But I wanted to do a practice one first because I didn't want his to be like, I wanted to learn first.
Yeah.
So typical me, I'd seen a tutorial a long time ago, so I was like, oh, I kind of remember it. I'm just going to cut all these up and sew them together. And then I got to, all right, let me show you. Hang on. So this one is one where I had cut the squares up a while ago, but I just hadn't done anything with them. So I assembled it today. It's large. It's just Christmassy sort of fabrics.
Cool.
And the way that you do a rag quilt is you seam it on the right side, and then you snip these edges, and it fluffs out, and it makes it really soft. But the thing is, and anyone who's probably made a rag quilt is going, I know where this is going. Before you do any of the seaming of the squares, you're actually, for each square, you're supposed to sew the batting and the backing to it before you seam it, like in an X.
Oh, that's problematic.
That way both wrong sides are coming up through the seam, and it gives you more of a fluff. So it's inconvenient because I've already seamed the entire thing, but not insurmountable. I'm just going to get a flannel. I've got several yards of flannel backing that I'm going to put on it, and then put the middle layer batting. Thank you. And then lay this on top, and then I'm just going to stitch in the ditch to stitch it all together. But then I'm not sure, like 5 inches is a lot to go without doing any quilting in the middle. So
sounds like you should talk to Mama Linneman.
Yeah, or any quilters who have done this before. Comment in the thread and tell me what I should do. Because I really do not want to have to disassemble this at all. Like, not even a little bit.
It seems like a task that you could convince Kobe that he should have. Like, a seam ripper sounds like an awesome job for a 12-year-old.
No, there's no way. So I don't know. I don't know. So there's that. But before that, I did actually finish this one. This one was the one I was originally going to do for Roe. I bought the fabric and started it and did a bunch of assembly, and then realized something was wrong with the way I had assembled it. So I put it away for a couple months, and then of course she passed. So I don't feel right giving this to anyone, not just because of that, but also because it's just riddled with problems. I think I did a better job on Laura's quilt that I made 3 years ago than I did on this one. But it's mostly because I know a little bit more, so I can see the errors.
Yeah.
You know, more glaring. So I'm going to try to
It's like when you pull out your first couple hand spots that you thought were awesome, and you're like, cool.
So this is, I can't show you the whole thing, but it's called Summer in the Park.
It's gorgeous.
Linked to a video where the Missouri Star Quilt Company shows you how to do it for free.
How big did you make it?
It's probably twin sized, maybe a little bigger. I got plain red swirly background.
That's
and
pretty.
An orange and gray and yellow border where it pulled some of the colors, but not all of them.
Yeah.
So I like it.
To keep it.
But I don't think it's good enough to give as a gift to anyone, so I probably will just keep it.
If it's twin size, it'll fit on Kobe's bed.
Yeah, it would. I don't know if he'd like the colors, though. I'll have to ask him. And I need to still trim the threads. There are a few that I haven't trimmed. And I just did stitch in the ditch on this, where because these were just jelly rolls, so I just did stitch in the ditch across the
So that's where you stitch where you've already stitched.
Yes, so you stitch at the seam point between two pieces of fabric, because I did not want to have to wrangle this through and do any kind of free motion quilting, mainly because I was in a hurry and I was determined to get this done this week. So, mission accomplished.
Yay.
And now I'm going to keep it on my lap because it's kind of cold in my basement.
Or you could put it on your bed, like, so your couch in your basement becomes a bed. You could keep it for that.
Yeah. I need to pull this thread, but if I pull it, then I'm just going to wait and cut it. Okay. So that's quilting and sewing. I might have some more sewing next week, but
good.
We'll see.
We have an ED unit giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do that.
I locked the thread. We had 195 entries. So let me pull up my phone. Ooh, I'm down to 13% battery. All right.
Next time my phone stays.
Random. We're going to do between 2 and 195. And it seems like most of you guys want to know about color work. Like, that seems to be the overwhelming teach me how to do color work request. So I would imagine that that's probably going to come up in their curriculum pretty soon. So I have not drawn a number. It is between 2 and 195. Generate. The result is 88, which should be on the 4th page.
That is P-U-G-I, those are random letters I'm not even saying correctly. P-U-G-U-I-T-A. Pugita?
Okay, congratulations.
It says something like speaking. And what wine goes best with that? Maybe some help with the whole math of adjusting a pattern, or just math in general. Can I have a math teacher too? I love that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's very much me.
So that's awesome. So you need to contact Leslie.
Yes, and we're going to actually draw 2 winners.
Oh, cool.
So I'm just going to hit generate again, and that number is 16. So that should be on the 1st page.
First page. Lucky first page. Can you hear my cat?
I hear Humberto.
My Destiny.
Oh, cool.
He would say, I would want the expert to teach me everything he or she knows and sit with me knitting for an hour or two because I have no one to knit with.
Aww. Well, now you have Gwen and Kelly to knit with.
Yeah.
So congratulations to the both of you. Just send me, you don't call me Les, a private message on Ravelry, and I will get you in touch with Gwen or Kelly, or Jess. They're sort of go-between. And we'll get you set up with a membership. And thank you very much to Gwen and Kelly for letting us do a giveaway. That was fun.
Yeah. What else is on favorite things? Let me see. The Alice Cal, A-L-L-I-S, is still going on. I gifted the people who finished a pattern. And then we have the Halloween craft all the things to give some stuff away. So that's problematic if your phone's running out of battery, but we're going to make it work.
Yeah, I've still got 12%. I'm good.
Okay, so let me pull that up. I was like, is it still on the 1st page? I don't know. Yeah, it's linked at the top.
I'm so glad we're going to get rid of a couple of those stickies. It drives me crazy when we have more than 4 or 5 stickies at the top.
Okay, well, we'll get rid of that one. So 2 through 667. The first thing, we have 3 of these to draw for, is at SSK this year. We had, I'm going to open one because we have more of these.
So we went through a bunch of our stuff and decided, Laura picked out things to give away. So we have like 10 different prizes.
Yep. So we have these really cool SSK foldable rulers that were in the goodie bag this year. Mm-hmm. And they are awesome. They fold.
Yeah, so they're easy to put in your notions pouch.
So they fit into a very small space, but they will not stretch like normal tape measure as well. So we have 3 of those. So why don't you go ahead and draw 3 people. Now, if y'all win something, please, you're sending a PM to me, and just please put in it what you won.
Yeah, tell her, because otherwise she'll have to go back and look, and she doesn't want to have to go back and look at herself.
No, and also, like, I can't access this at school, so... I can't access the podcast at school, so it makes it a little bit difficult.
Bummer.
But it's all good.
Okay, so the first winner is number 407. I'm just going to call it out rather than show you.
Okay, so 407 is going to be on, like, page
16, I think. Page 16? 17.
17.
407 is
407.
Christy B.
Oh, see, you're so faster than me. And a patch. She did a bunch of patches. So cool. Christy B, send me a PM. Next.
The next one is 296, which should be on page 12.
Hop.
I love Casey of Ravelry. He is my favorite.
What was it 296
is Knitting Nonsense, who also knit a patch.
Now it's a competition to see who can get to him first.
Jack Skellington patch. That's a really cool use of that pattern.
I like those. I've seen a couple of them done. They're amazing.
All right, the next one is number 115, which I think is on the 5th page.
Get there first.
Can you scroll faster than me?
I can. It is CadNH13. I just gifted her a pattern.
I follow her on Instagram.
I do too, and she's a Gryffindor.
Yeah.
So just send me when she we should say what she knit. She knit a hat that's awesome for dressing up like a Georgia Bulldogs fan.
All right, so those 3 won rulers. What's the next person going to win?
The next person, so IBX Pirate has a shop called Heartfelt Handspun. And she sent us
OBX Pirate.
Yes, what should I say?
IBX Pirate.
I'm sorry.
OBX Pirate.
Letters today are killing me.
I'm just saying.
Anyway, that is her shop. And she sent, and it is Heartfelt Handspun, Etsy.com. I don't know if you can see that bottom.
Oh, that's so
she
cool.
sent you and me gifts, and I'm not showing mine on the podcast until I'm sending Leslie a big box of stuff this week. And then she sent 2 giveaways. Each have like these cool stitch markers, and they're on huge safety pin things, but you can stick those on the outside of a project bag, which is perfect. And then I'm going to open it up because they have buttons in them too.
So we have 2 of these?
Yep. We've got one that's orange and one with orange buttons and one with purple buttons. So this one has little cute owl buttons. You see the owl? And skull stitch markers. And then smaller little rose stitch markers. And she was sick and made sure to get these to me.
So the first winner
that's the first one.
is Twin City Knitter, and she knit a pair of Fiber Nymph candy corn inversibles.
Oh, cool.
They're pretty awesome. Some socks.
What number was she?
She was number 324.
Cool.
And that's Twin City Knitter. And the next winner is number 169, which I believe is on page 7. Yep. I'm getting very good at dividing by 25. All right, number 169. Ooh, those are pretty.
I know.
And this is, she knitted some pumpkin-colored mittens, and they're called Hierro. And it looks like they have bobbles and cables. And knit through the back loops. They're very pretty and in really great color. So Eddie's Knittery, number 169. You got Laura. You got some stitch markers and buttons from OBX Pirate.
And then in a different kind of buttons, I have a set of 6 buttons that were part of the Gusler
Gusler Designs.
Gusler Designs. I like that one that says
that bleep will block right out.
Yep. So there are 6 of them. They were part of the Kickstarter. But I wanted to I can get buttons from my sister anytime because I can go into her house and steal them. So I wanted to pass these along to y'all.
So, and the winner of that one, you'll be pleased to know, is Palette PC.
Oh, fun!
Who did a Girls' Night Out cross stitch.
Yeah.
The Witches Riding Motorcycles. I think it's hilarious.
Bev might already have these because I know she did the Kickstarter. If she does, well, I'll find something else for her.
We can find something sweet for her. What's your next prize?
It is Plymouth Yarn Stiletto, which is a superwash merino wool nylon silver.
Oh, pretty.
Sock yarn.
I like that.
That I got from Hank of Yarn a while back.
All right, so the winner of that is number 501, which is Heather01851. She knit a shawl, a great big warm shawl to wear with her pointy hat this year when she was handing out candy. It's the Vedback shawl in Peace Fleece.
Cool. And then the last thing I have, Lost City Knits is always so sweet to us, and they donated the skein of their, I think it's
lace weight.
Lace. Oak Barn lace. Let's take a look. No, North Pasture alpaca lace in the Rumpelstiltskin colorway, which is that pretty yellow. And scarf pattern. I'm going to butcher this. I'm sorry, Chris and Denise. It's the MAAEMA scarf, which is May Emma, after the Estonian god. I love how she's got it a pronunciation guide, because that's what I need. Because it's like they know me or something. It's named for the Estonian goddess symbolizing Mother Earth.
And that one is going to number 563, who is Yarn Sniper, Lita.
Cool.
She spun a bat for Spinzilla 2014 with fall colors in it. So, Lita, just contact Laura, and she will get in touch with you about getting your prize out.
Definitely. I will be going to the post office tomorrow to mail Leslie and the nieces some stuff, and we'll progress something, and then I'll go later in the week as well. I also have a prize, the Jump Pillow prize that I've been not good about mailing out. So.
Sometimes it takes me 2 to 3 weeks. I figure if it's free, then sometimes you have to wait. I'm sorry.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Anything else that we had to talk about? Nothing really big. Project Sweater Chest is an ongoing thing that we have going on, along with the Knit More Girls, and inspired by Susan B. Anderson. It is going on. We've got a chat thread in our Ravelry group. You can find the show notes at KnitGirls with 3Ls.com. And so that's about it. You can find us on iTunes, Blip,
Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah.
You can find us on Facebook, but I'm never there.
I'm very rarely on Facebook. I need to get better about that. I only went on yesterday. My sister dressed up like a piñata for Halloween.
Yeah, I saw.
So I had to go see those pictures. But and wish Wheezy a happy birthday. Wheezy's birthday was this week. Yes. Wheezy is 60.
He is a very spry 60.
The nieces told him that he could be King Opa, but only on his birthday now.
He only gets a birthday, not a birth month.
No, every other day he's a stinkopotamus. So.
Well, that is true.
Come on now. All right. Well, I think that's it for this week's show.
Yep.
We will see you around, and that's about it.
Yep.
Talk to you later.
Week.
Bye, y'all.